Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I am going to be trying out a new beauty tool. So the last one I really tried out was actually this Sony Caustic sponge. Don't mind the fact that it's super dirty, love it, and it's been my go-to. But I recently watched a video from Nikki Tutorials where she reviewed a new type of beauty sponge, and I was instantly intrigued and I wondered if it really worked, and it wasn't very expensive at all. So I said, I'm gonna try it out, and I'm gonna try it out on camera too, because sometimes, no, I love beauty gurus. I watch quite a bit of them. They've been a lot of the inspiration for my channel, but sometimes I don't always agree with their opinions, different skin types, different ways of applying makeup that just, you know, of course, we all have our differences there. So I really wanted to try this out and kind of review it on my own, having watched that video. And the sponge I'm talking about, or the beauty blender type-esque sponge that I'm talking about, is the Juno Co Microfiber Velvet Sponge. So it comes in a cute little package like this. It's only like $6. It's not expensive at all, but it's very different. While it looks like the egg here, it's got the flat side. It also has the flat side here. It has got that velvety kind of soft texture here as well. So I'm just curious to see how dense it is, how it works out, how it blends with the fibers. Now, she absolutely raved about it and loved it, so I'm just kind of curious myself. It is a cruelty-free and latex-free product, in case that is something you really worry about. I want to make sure I share that. So it is made with the Velvet Soft microfiber bristles, and it is supposed to be great for stippling, and it's supposed to build coverage fast, which in my daily life, I don't really have a lot of time to do my makeup on an everyday basis, so that sounds great. And I think you can use this both dry and wet. And I normally use my sponges wet, so I'm gonna actually just try it that way first. Well, first, once it's wet, I only have one. Can't really share it with you guys after that, but how it works dry. But I'm gonna go ahead and step off camera, wet this, and then I'm gonna start applying my foundation and concealer and powder and everything that I normally do with the sponge on camera for you guys, just to kind of test it out. So I will be right back. Okay, so I did just damp it, and it did get a little bit bigger, not a heck of a lot. And what is so crazy about it is that when it's under the water, it is just like dark, and you're like, oh geez. But then you squeeze it when you're kind of getting the excess water out, and it just comes this exact same color. And I can feel that there's water in it, but it does not feel damp. Like, it doesn't feel like I just ran it under some cool water at all. So that's, and it's now very, very kind of squishy, I would say, compared to some of the others. Like, if I'm comparing to my Sony Caustic, this is definitely a little bit fluffier. This one is a little bit squishier, but here is the size difference between the two, just to kind of give you guys some reference. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime my face, and then I'll be back to actually start filming the foundation for you guys. Before I get into all of that, make sure you subscribe before you go. I've got an unboxing coming up and some other things planned for you guys, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on those. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start playing with some makeup / beauty tools. Okay, so my face is now primed. So I'm gonna use my Born This Way foundation, which is almost empty, which is crazy because I have so many foundations. So the fact that one of them is almost empty is insane, a little bit insane. I'm just gonna apply that directly on my hand. And I think I'm just going with the flat side, here. Just dip that in. We're gonna start tapping. So here we go. So as I'm dabbing this across my face, a couple of things are standing out to me. One is that it definitely doesn't absorb as much product as some of the other sponges that I have. Like, you can see it on here, but it's not like sucking it all in as much. So that's a huge plus for me. You know, less product wasted, so to speak, the better. I will say that because of that, I do have too much foundation on, so sorry about that. It is a little hard to get into like the crevices of my nose just using this flat side. And I will say that as I'm kind of going back and forth, it's getting better, but when I first use it, I guess it's because of the little velvety texture, I'm noticing the way that my foundation is coming across actually has some texture to it. Like it's not just a smooth kind of airbrush application. And it's not like it's the texture that I normally have on my skin, because I don't see this when I use other sponges or brushes. It's not kind of texture that's skin, it's just that the way that the foundation is being laid. So that's a little concerning for me as I continue to try to blend this out. I blended it very quickly, as you can see, very quickly, very easily, but I just don't know about the finish of it. Again, beyond the fact that I just used too much foundation. Yeah, I don't know. I know that, again, at this point, Nikki Tutorials was already raving about the coverage and how it looked on her skin and how flawless her skin looked, but I don't know. I don't see how it's just any better than the other sponges, other than the fact that it doesn't absorb as much product. But as far as like the way it's laid on my skin, I'm not seeing anything like fantastic. So what I'm going to do now, obviously, is go in with my concealer, and I'm using the Urban Decay Naked Concealer, and I'm just going to try to blend it out, because usually when I apply my makeup on an everyday basis, I use my sponge to blend out my foundation. Got a little Texan on you there. I use it to blend up my foundation. Just, again, with the accent. I use it to blend out my foundation and my concealer both. So that's what I'm going to do now, and to see how it blends out the different products. So this one, the concealer looks a little bit nicer, I will say. I found that, like, as I've used this side, I've had to work a little bit harder to blend it out than I did with the flat side with the foundation. And that can happen with concealers anyway, because they are a thicker formula to provide the coverage that we all want and love. But I did have to work a little bit harder to get it to blend out, but it does look smoother than it did initially with the foundation. So maybe it just didn't agree with the Too Faced foundation that I put on. So what I'm going to do next, because I also use my sponge for this, is I'm going to go in with my setting powder, and I'm going to just use the same side of the sponge here and apply it on. Already I'm noticing it's already dry, like the sponge feels very dry, and it did so in the beginning, but it feels a lot more so. So I usually like using a wet sponge to kind of press the powder in to get a nicer finish, especially if I'm not baking, which I don't really need to right now, and especially kind of don't really want to because my skin is so dry. But as soon as I lay the powder down here, I normally don't have to go in and dip again to get the same kind of effect on the other side. And I definitely did notice that it didn't absorb product, like I said. So when I played the powder down on one side and I went to go to the other side, it was already gone because it all was already on. Nothing was absorbed into the sponge. But I mean, it went on nicely and it was easy to use. And I do like the fact that it is a little bit smaller, so it can fit into smaller powders like this one right here. You're not trying to like fit it all in there, or dip something as big as this and then you're like, oh, trying to rotate it and all that stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my makeup, and then I'll be back to kind of give you guys a final review, because that's pretty much all I do with the sponge. I mean, I guess I could try to do my, I guess I could have done, now it's too late since the powder's on my face, could have done a liquid bronzer and stuff on it, but again, that's just not part of my normal routine, so that's not something I kind of wanted to share. I wanted to see how it would fit in my everyday makeup routine. So I'm going to go ahead and dust off the rest of this powder, finish up my face, and I will be right back for my final thoughts on this beauty sponge. Okay guys, so now that the full face is on and done, pretty much what my final thoughts are on this sponge is that I really like how affordable it is, and I really like how little actual product it absorbs. So for those of you that are all about saving money, and by saving the amount of product that your sponge soaks up, the less product you have to use, the less often you have to buy a product, the more money you save. So that is a big deal. And it was also only $6. So beauty blenders are $20. So this Sonia Kashuk one was like $10. And when I blended out the concealer, that went on nicely. And again, the final look, it does look very airbrushed. It does look very nice. So it could be that this just particular foundation, it didn't like right off the bat, and it gave me a little bit of kind of that texture when kind of tapping that in, but overall it did a nice job. It did it very smoothly, it did it very quickly, and again, it does look very nice. I had a little bit of trouble getting into the creases of my nose without using this side, with just using that, so that was kind of a pain. But again, when you have this kind of shape, it is what it is, and you can just work with it. So overall, I'm happy with the final look. I'm happy with the sponge. I think it worked out great. Am I just thinking, yes, oh my God, blown away, and this is the best new thing ever invented where I spent all my life? No, I'm not thinking that. I wasn't as blown away as some of the other reviews. I wasn't just as gung-ho about it, but it is a nice sponge. It is very affordable. It is very soft, and it is very workable. I will also say, because it is very squishy, when I had to blend out the concealer, as you guys heard me say earlier, it took a little bit more effort to actually blend it out. And that took a little bit more time, but the actual blending of the foundation and putting on the powder was really super easy. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you did like it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And again, make sure you subscribe before you go. But that's really all I have for you guys. So until I can get more videos out for you guys, as always, I hope you have a wonderful day.